that, I will send you like a meeting invite if you still want him to do it via Zoom or certainly do it. It'll just be a one-on-one session basically. So the way I'm gonna run test is everything is just one-on-one.
Oh, okay.
So
Yeah, you can do one-on-one. I was just still worried about like big groups, but
and that's fine. Like I said, I mean, the majority of our base right now is still training from home. So
yeah.
and I get it. I'm not gonna force them.
Right.
So you got a sale on the house. Congratulations.
Yeah. I've still been really busy. I just said I should probably actually post the closings that I do more often because I never do. So yeah, I had one on Thursday and one on Friday. So this week was really busy. That first one, that was a hard one. My client was difficult to work with. The other agent's client was difficult to work with. We were both friends with each other.
Yeah.
So, but it's good to have a professional, because if those two would have just talked together, they would have. Yeah.
That wouldn't have gone good.
No way.
Yeah. Got it.
But yeah, listings are doing really well right now. I think the market's leveling out for a bit. And we'll probably have another bottleneck of it.
Influx, yeah. Got it. All right. Hi, Natalie. Hi, Jason.
Hello. Hello.
Give a couple minutes. Interested to see how many show up with the Memorial Day weekend. Not that there's any place to go and do stuff, at this point, but interesting to see. Last night, 6 o'clock class, I probably could have done without because there was only three students that participated in that.
Yeah. I always forget the weekend, holiday weekend.
Yeah. Alright.
Did you guys finish up the school year already?
Yeah, we just finished up on Friday.
Yeah.
Friday was the official day off, so. Can you hear me, Mr. Giles? Oh, it doesn't look like you're connected via the audio.
I am now.
Oh, now you are. Good. There you go. Good. Awesome. All right.
Leon curves.
Oh my goodness, who's that guy? Roll Dan.
Oh.
And then, what's up?
How you doing today, sir?
You're getting in the class, Mr. Roldan, if you want to join this class.
Can you hear me now? I couldn't hear you, sir.
I can hear you. You better get into the class, Mr. Roldan, get that black belt so you can join this group here. That was kidding.
He just wanted to say hi.
Yep. How you guys doing? Everything's good?
Everything's good. Plugging away. You can join us if you want. You can stick around.
I gotta head home and do the husband thing.
Fair enough.
All right. Good see you.
All right, take care. Have a great weekend.
All right. See you too.
Yeah.
Everybody, talk to you later. How are we doing today, gentlemen
Oh, doing
and
well.
ladies?
Cat.
I'm gonna plug in my headset here real quick.
Welcome to the embarrassing day.
No, it's not embarrassing. Come on now. You guys can hear me okay, right?
Yes,
All right.
Oh, nice kitty.
I know. It's a Taekwondo
We've been
cat.
getting a lot of those in class. It's funny. Kids are kicking in and the cat's like right in the camera.
That's awesome.
Purring. It's crazy stuff.
Yep, that's what he's doing.
What
Ow.
page?
Let me see. All right. Hang on a second. I want to get the projector hooked up here real quick.
I see a foot over there. Whose foot is that?
Mr. Campbell's.
Oh, there you are, sir. How's it going, man?
Yeah, it's Mr. Campbell's foot.
Now we have a whole person.
We do. So.
Look, he's got it high and tight right now.
Yeah. Was it last week you did that, sir? Ah, got it. Low maintenance.
Definitely.
I like to say going green. Saving on water, not like Natalie's hair. She increases my water bill by like $100. Washes her hair. It's crazy.
Poor Natalie.
No, there ain't no poor Natalie. It's poor Master Hong.
He only picks on the ones that he likes.
That's right. Oh, is that it? Okay.
Oh,
Well,
brother. Here we go.
Well, at least she's got clean hair, right, sir? I mean, that's good.
Yeah.
You could
guess.
have the teenage boy that just doesn't shower and the room's a wreck and it's dirty socks.
You know, that's true. That is true.
Mm-hmm.
That is true. All right.
Mr. Campbell has not experienced that yet, but it's coming, sir, one day.
This will be for your reference, just for a time being. This is my notebook, but it's pretty big.
So, sir, are we going to be on the appendix page? Is that what we're going to do? The terminology page is on.
Well, I want to go through the curriculum real quick itself.
Okay.
And then
Okay.
kind of hit some highlights, and then we'll go through it in detail with the other stuff. So I'm gonna pull it up as well here. So and I'll share it on the screen and everything. Give me just a second to pull it up here. I noticed yesterday I had a meeting at church, and we were using my laptop for the Zoom, and just like it was when we were doing the classes in my house before I had my headset, it was the volume was coming in and coming out, coming in, coming out. So it made it very difficult to hear things. So I don't like wearing this thing for a long time because it hurts my ears. But
Oh yeah.
Yeah, they do.
eventually, hopefully, I'll get used to it and develop a callus on the top of my ear, and it's not gonna bother me as much.
Get a cauliflower ear. Start look like a wrestler.
Yeah, exactly.
I used to wear one all the time, and I don't know. Gosh, probably I wore it for a couple of years.
Yeah, you did those big seminar things.
Yeah, I didn't, and it you do get used to it, but it's still always nice to take it off. I can tell you that
Yeah.
when you're done with it. But it does come in nice and clear.
Yeah. I'm certainly pleased with this particular headset. So it's nice. I can move around and it still, seems like it's picking up everything pretty well.
Yeah, it does. I haven't heard. I mean, the last week. When did you get it? Like last week, was it?
Yeah, about a week, almost 2 weeks now. I think I've had
Yeah.
it.
Well, because I haven't noticed anything, at least on my end. On the Facebook classes that that they've been fine.
Got
It's
it.
been good.
All right. Well, I don't think that anyone else can join us. So we're gonna go ahead and we'll get going here. Oh, Olivia's here. Okay. I'm gonna share my screen here real quick. So. All right. So hopefully you guys can see my curriculum document.
Yes.
So, all right, hold on here. Okay. Hold on. Still getting used to all this stuff.
You're doing a great job, sir.
Yeah, thanks. Brown nosing doesn't benefit
I'm
you.
not trying to suck up. I'm just saying I think you're doing a great job. It's just my opinion.
All right. All right. So, for most everyone, if you looked at the most recent copy, that's the most updated one right now. I'm in the process going through some of my resources from Cookie One itself. So our terminology sheet will change in the way of the Korean piece of it because a lot of the old school terminology was the ITF way of saying things. And because of the fact that we are certifying through the Cookie One and the WT, I'm going to update everything so that we're using the same kind of terminology. All right, so going forward. All right, so as you're looking at your curriculum sheet and so forth, obviously, you're going to notice that basically pretty much each belt rank is going to have 4 to 5 different age groups that I've got it broken down to. 4 and under, 5 to 7, 8 to 12, 13 to 17, and then 18 and older adults, basically. And basically, generally speaking, most everything is pretty much standard in the way of like kicks and so forth with all the age groups. The one thing that really differs is usually terminology requirements and board breaking requirements, meaning like the strength of the board that is required to be used for breaking. All right, we're not going to ask a 4-year-old to try to break a green board. All right, we could, but we're going to probably set the kids up more for failure than anything else when it comes to that. Is it a science? No, not necessarily. I mean, I've kind of gone through with the boards since we're using plastic boards. Because like for me, growing up, I didn't have to break boards until I became a green belt. And we were always breaking wood boards. But, when you're running a school and every test you have to cut boards and, kids have to break the wooden boards and so forth, it starts to become very cost prohibitive. Because I'm looking at, you buy a 8-foot plank of wood and you can get maybe, you pay almost $20 for it, right? And then you get maybe 10 boards out of it if you're lucky, right?
And then you throw it away.
Yeah, and then it's and granted it's a souvenir for the kids and so forth, so it hasn't been very cost effective for me to do it for every belt rank and so forth. So the plastic rebreakable boards is certainly the better option. in regards to that. So it isn't a science. Like I said, it's just more kind of estimation based on the strength of those boards as provided by the plastic board holder company. Because if you look at those plastic boards, whenever you're holding on the back end of it, it'll tell you, oh yeah, the white board is an equivalent to like a 3/8 inch board or something like that is what they say. And so they've got these different standards for what it is. And the green board is supposedly equivalent to one regular wood board, right? The 3/4 inch white pine wood board that we typically use for our black belt tests. Whether that's true or not, it's close. It's not an exact science. But it gives us, like I said, it's more of a cost-effective way for us to be able to manage our testings. And so, as you're looking through that, if you guys see a question in regards to it, let me know. Once again, this is a fluid document, still trying to make it even better in regards to that. So, but needless to say, each belt rank has those 4 to 5 age groups that are all set up in there. And then what I tried to do in those documents is obviously, if it's broken down, so you got the kicks, you got the hand techniques, you got the stances, you got the forms, you got what they need to do to earn those stripes, and then what the testing involves, basically. And then usually in addition to that, on the back side of it or the next page, usually it's the stuff that we don't have diagrams for, that it's written out in in basically step-by-step form. So like 10 basic stances, we don't have a diagram for that. So it's out here in this manner. So it's kind of written movement by movement. Once again, terminology will start changing as I'm looking at this to be more consistent with Kukiwon. So we will be moving to a low block versus a down block. Not a rising block anymore, but a high block. Not an outside in block, but an inner block. We're going to start moving toward that terminology. So as we do that, I'll start changing and making modifications and then providing you copies so that once again, you don't have to worry about trying to keep your book updated. Anytime I make a change, I'll make copies and then I'll send it out to everyone. So you can keep your books up to date that way. Once again, anyone here who does not have a book, let me know. I will print that out for you guys. I don't want you guys to spend your own money printing out a 130 or 140 page document. It's a lot of ink. So I can do that at work. It's not a big deal for me at work to be able to do that. So needless to say, we're going to, some of that stuff will be changing. All right. Any questions so far from anyone?
No, sir.
No.
No, sir.
No. Mr. Campbell, you good? All right. All right. So, needless to say, from a teenager adult standpoint, stripes are not earned during that age group. It's just basically, just an assessment by instructors on whether or not they're ready to test, based on what they do. So, all right. Needless to say, let's go on. So, kick wise, white belts, all of them will learn the 3 basic kicks. Adults will typically learn the crescent kick in addition to the front kick, axe kick, and roundhouse kicks. I'm going to start incorporating more of the ITF as well, just as a good to know kind of thing for the teenagers and adults. Some of the teenagers and adults will not know them because of the fact that they don't come to class as much. Some of them are only taking class once a week. All right. So really, like, the ITF forms will be taught to those that are attending class on average of 3 times a week or more, because of their commitment level and plus of the fact that they're going to be learning the material much quicker. So once again, it's not a requirement, but it is a good to know. It also helps me to kind of keep true to my roots. And once again, you'll find as you learn these ITF forms, you're like, wow, they're a lot more advanced than the WT forms, the Kukiwon forms. So, all right.
You guys get a chance to see the Kuki one demonstration? No? So with that video that video link that I sent you guys,
Oh yeah,
hopefully you
It
guys
was
saw
cool.
the slow-mo one.
yeah, that was good too. Yeah,
Right?
Addie and I
Kind of
thought it was
see those
pretty impressive.
guys. Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
it's incredible the technology that they use. You know, those cameras were framing at, I can't remember, tens of thousands of frames per second kind of thing, So you saw every little movement. And so forth. Then you saw them, make some misses and so forth in those boards. Once again, they're demonstration style boards. It's not to show power. It's to show just the uniqueness of being able to do a flip in the air and do, 10 kicks in the air while you're flipping a circle, right? So,
It's awesome.
right? Something that, goals, right? Something for you as black belts to look forward to. It's like, hey, I want to do that too.
That's what made me want to get. That's one of the things that made me want to get in Taekwondo when I saw people flying through the air, kicking like 5 times in a row. I'm like, how do you do that? I want to do that.
That's cool.
Of course, back when I first started, it's changed a lot because now they're launching each other up. I mean, I don't know if you saw the one where they have a whole bunch of those mats stacked up, a whole bunch of our floor mats stacked up, and then they got a guy standing on top there. And so what they do is that the guy gets launched by one guy at the very bottom of the stack, and then there's a guy at the top of the stack that catches him and launches him up even higher. So he's probably jumping upwards of 20 feet in the air, breaking
Wow.
a board, flipping, breaking a board, and then landing.
And then landing.
The landing scares me.
That's the part you gotta stick the landing, man. It's gonna be hard if you don't.
But the reality is that these guys show the human body and what we're doing now with our bodies. It goes back to this thought that I have is just because you can doesn't always mean you should. Right? And these guys are doing these incredible things, and they're blowing the minds of a lot of people. But you think about these guys are training and doing these flips and doing these kind of things and doing these landings constantly. The routine that they did, they probably trained and practiced for an entire year before performing. And then they'll perform for a year. They'll travel the world and start performing for a year. Right? So for 2 years, they're practicing these landings on surfaces like this. And the amount of impact on their joints and their back that they're experiencing. A lot of these guys will not be, from a longevity standpoint, they're not going to be walking for extreme periods of time. I mean, even for me, the short period of time that I was doing the bad exercises that I did, it makes it hard for me to jump. My knees hurt, my back hurts because of the way I was taught to train and how you used to always, you have to squat extra far, you have to go beyond 90 degrees for your knees to be able to develop that strength. Pain, if you're not feeling pain, then you're not gaining anything. So here, let me all the way down. Right? That's the old school mentality, but yet it did more harm than good. And, now that I'm in my 40s, going into my 50s, I feel it. I feel it. These mats aren't the best either. For me, I've noticed that ever since I've been at Apex, being on these mats, it's made my back worse. The cushioning factor of it. And, and I don't think anything of it, but then I equate, okay, I'm at Apex 5 days a week, averaging 4 to 5 hours a day on these mats, not sitting down, standing. And you would think, it's a cushion, right? But it's a lot. It's a lot over the course of time. And I've been now with Apex for going on 14 years. I think 14 years, 13 or 14 years I've been with Apex. So it's a lot, it's a lot of hours that I've logged just on my feet and on these mats, and, being barefoot as well, not having an orthotic or anything like that, not wearing shoes. So my body's starting to pay that price, and so, so it's hard. So I'm trying to be very smart in how I approach the instruction piece to make sure that it is healthy, because, we're not, the kids recover quickly. Right? We all know, we all have kids that can recover quickly. They injure themselves and then, a week later they're fine. Right? For, Miss Olivia, Mr. Giles, Mr. Daniel, Mr. Campbell, you know that if you do get an injury, that healing process takes a little bit longer than normal. Right? It's not like the kid.
Sure.
You pull a muscle, you might think, oh yeah, I'll be fine in a week. And then you find out it lingers for 2 weeks, 3 weeks, maybe 6 months.
Mm.
All right, Mr. Giles, yeah, perfect example. Your foot. You're like, oh yeah, I can get by this. This is gonna be fine. My plantar fascia, it's gonna be fine. I'm gonna rest it for 2 weeks, 3 weeks, and I'll be fine. And then all of a sudden, boom, you do one thing and then you re-aggravate it, and then you're back to square one.
Yep.
Yeah. So it's that process that we have to understand, and as we're working with the different levels and the different individuals, different age groups, we have to be cognizant of that and making sure that we're making sure that they're properly stretching and they're properly doing the exercises right, the technique is right, to preserve the longevity of them. Will all of them be in the martial art for 10, 12, 14, 30 some odd years? Probably not. But we don't want to shorten their time span due to negligence on our part, where we're not paying attention to their needs and their abilities, especially our older group. That's the biggest thing. I always have to tell Mr. Janio to dial it down. Right? This is not the UFC. Right?
It's not the UFC.
It's not trying to show off to everyone. You're just doing this for yourself because he has this pride thing and he feels like he has to work really hard and so forth. And when he first came back and he was all excited about training with me when I first came to Apex, he's like, yeah, I got this. This is gonna be awesome. He hurt himself and then he ghosted me for almost 10 years.
Oh.
Right? He ghosted me. So I'm living with this guilt, like, oh man, geez, I feel bad that that he got injured on my watch, and now he doesn't want to be friends with me because he ghosted me. Because I'm reaching out, going, hey, what's going on? Are you okay? You alive? Whatever.
I came and saw you. I came and saw you all the time.
Silence. There was just silence. No, but the reality is that, we just want to make sure that everyone is in a safe environment, I mean, I'm working to try to get the parents involved with their kids and so forth. So as we get more and more parents involved, we just want to make sure that they're safe. Because once again, their recovery is not as quick. So, all right. All right.
I can tell you that most of that was bad technique, sir. That's why.
Okay. You know what? I didn't know that for 10 years, though. Right? I just assumed that for 10 years while you ghosted me that I was the cause of you not coming back. So.
I came and saw you. I even brought you a gift one day.
Yeah, that is true. That is true. All right. So
that's funny.
I'm just kind of fast forwarding through the document here. But once again, this document goes up to 3rd degree at this point right now.
I don't think my pages sync with your pages, though.
Of course not. I mean, this is the, I think your printout is a little bit different. So,
yeah.
Once again, what I'm also noticing is that it seems like every computer that I open this on, the font changes and then the page numbers change.
Right. It makes it bigger.
What in the world?
Yeah,
I have to go through and reformat everything to try to make sure it's on the right page and stuff like that. Because I'm a big person on, appearance is really important to me. So like if a part of the section overflows into the next page, I try to put a page break on the section instead of having the section overflow into the next page or text flowing into the next section, So yeah. I'm a big, it's just my analytical nature. Like when I'm presenting material, because I have to do a lot of stuff in my day job of presenting material to customers and clients. So we don't want stuff where, spacing's off or, it's not justified, meaning that both margins have text going all the way to each side, So I work a lot on making sure that stuff looks really good that way. So, and so it drives me nuts. So needless to say, right? Like I said, we'll get it all formatted. But once again, it's only up through 3rd degree. And the reason for this is because in the history, in all of the time that I've been here at Apex, no one has, got tested for 5th, I've only had two individuals under my watch that have tested for 4th. And then at that point there, they quit. So, so no one's really wanted to, has demonstrated that desire to move on. So I haven't put that work in on what does a 4th degree black belt wanting to be 5th, what should we be doing and so forth. So, but the majority have gone, I've seen black belts. Obviously most of the black belts will quit at black belt. And then the select few have gone to 2nd and 3rd degrees, testing for 4th. So that's why it's only up through the 3rd degree. When we get to that point, some of you who have that desire to be 4th degree and then want to get to 5th, by all means, we'll start developing curriculum and you'll be the guinea pig for that. All right. But needless to say, the way it works is at 4th degree, you are considered a master by Kukiwan standards. That's when the master title comes into play. 1st degree black belt, you are just considered a black belt. Right? 2nd and 3rd degree black belt, you are considered like an assistant instructor kind of thing. At the 4th degree black belt, you become that title of master comes into play, 4th and above. And at that point there, you are technically allowed to really kind of run your own school and certify through Kukiwan. So basically, any 1st degree, anyone applying for black belt has to be approved by a 4th degree black belt or higher. So that's the way that the Kukiwan operates, all right? So what does that mean? If you're a 4th degree black belt, can you approve someone wanting to test for 5th degree? No, you cannot. So basically, from 4th degree on, you have to have someone that's higher rank in order to approve you. So like for me, in order for me to test for my 8th degree, I need to have an 8th degree black belt approve me. All right. And so that's that process. So like for me, I can test anyone here locally up through 6th degree. All right. Typically with Kukiwan, 7th and higher, or actually, is it 7th? Might be 8th. I think it's 8th degree and higher. You really, you have to usually test at Kukiwan. All right, so Kukiwan does offer remote testings occasionally. When I tested for my 7th, they did a high Dan test that year here in Colorado. And a number of them tested for their 8th degree without having to go to Korea. So they do that occasionally, but not very often. So
might do it more now.
We'll see. I don't know. I don't know if they will. We'll see. But needless to say, so the curriculum, like I said, goes up to third degree. In the middle of it, for those of you who are visual, right, there's a matrix. Right, and the matrix is just like a Excel table, and it has belt, age, and then it talks about like this is really like for testing requirements. All right, so it talks about like I got different matrices like the Pumse matrix, the kicking matrix, the board breaking matrix, you know, and so you know Keanu Reeves kind of helped me with this. No, I'm kidding. You know, so, but yeah, basically what it does is it kind of talks about, okay, what are the kicks that are going to be required for a senior blue belt, you know? And so I have basically for, you know, 4 and under, typically there's not going to be a 4-year-old that's going to be a senior blue belt. Right? It's just not going to be, it's not realistic for a 4-year-old to be a senior blue belt. So that's why it's not applicable. 5 to 7-year-old senior blue belts, right? They'll do their previous kicks and then they'll have the tornado kick. All right? So it talks about stepping techniques and things like that, you know, Pumse matrices, terminology matrices and things like that. So, and then the sparring type of matrices. So once again, these are for those visual types of people that need something just kind of here. I need everything on one page. So it's just a resource. You can take it for what you want. If you don't like it, not a big deal. You don't hurt my feelings. All right. So. Because I have 7 stripes on my belt and you only have like 1 or 2 or so or 3, so it doesn't matter.
The guy with the gold makes all the rules.
That's right.
It's the golden
That's right.
rule. And he's even got a gold shirt on today.
That's
so.
right.
There you go.
This uniform, if you guys weren't in on the one, this is from a competition standpoint for those athletes that are age 50 and older that compete. They wear this uniform. When they first introduced this uniform, when they first introduced the Pumse uniform, which is the crossover top, right? They took the old ITF realm. So Mr. Daniel, you know this, Mr. Giles, I don't know. Were you a ITF guy when you first started? No? Okay. So Mr. Daniel knows he was ITF. We used to have the fold over uniforms, right? The karate gis, right? The typical karate gis where you fold it in one side, you tied it on the inside, and then you tied it on the outside. So WT decided to go back to this, right? They decided to go back to this from a competition standpoint. And so they created these uniforms, and then they had these different pant colors, right? They had the red for the girls that were 12 and under, or 14 and under, and then they had the aqua blue navy blue for the kids, for the boys, right? And then the top had red and blue, or red and black on the stripe, the black part, to signify the junior black belt, the PUM, right? Then at 15, the uniform changed. So it went to a solid black up here, white top, and then the pants were black for the boys, for the males, and then aqua blue for the girls, for the females. Okay, and that stayed until you got to basically what they call Master 1, which is 50 years old and older, 50 and older. And then at that point that you got to wear the gold. Okay, so that's the way it stands right now. When they originally introduced this uniform, this was for the Grandmasters. So you had to be at least 7th degree or higher to wear this uniform originally. And then they changed it. So now all these old 50-year-olds. So Mr. Daniel, you can wear one of these if you want.
Thanks, sir.
All right, sure. Anytime, man. Anytime. So, all right. All right. So needless to say, let's go through the terminology a little bit. School motto, you guys know that. Taking it to higher ground. We have 15 school rules. I'm going to start placing a little more emphasis in this, obviously. Making sure that the kids know this kind of stuff, just so that it kind of helps us to manage the floor a little bit better when the kids are expected to know the rules as a part of their process. The Taekwondo oath is from my old school, and this is really what I want the black belts, those that are black belts and higher. So if you're 1st degree and up, you're expected to know this kind of stuff. You're expected to know the tenets of Taekwondo. All right. Every class, instead of doing Tojang Hun, when I started, it was the Taekwondo oath. You used to raise your right hand, face the flags. Number 1, I shall observe the tenets of Taekwondo. Number 2, I shall respect the instructors and seniors. Number 3, I shall never misuse the Taekwondo art, and go through that process. It was just like the Tojang Hun that we do in class.
We did that and the tenets of Taekwondo every day.
Yeah. So this is an old school thing. This is an ITF thing.
Mm-hmm.
And once again, I'm just trying to keep some of my heritage intact. So more so with the more so for the for my own benefit, to be able to share as much knowledge as I can. All right. So next comment says student's creed, which is the Haksang Hun. Haksang is student in Korean. Haksang. All right. Hun, creed. All right. And so the student's creed was, to build yourselves mentally and physically, to build friendships with one another, and to be a strong group. Never fight to achieve selfish ends, but to develop might for right. So that process there, that was another thing. We had to know that as a red belt or higher. So, and then the tenets of Taekwondo: courtesy, integrity, perseverance, self-control, indomitable spirit. If you're a mnemonic device kind of person, Kipsy, just think Kipsy, right? So, and obviously some of the tenets align with our belt philosophies.
Oh, yeah.
So, All right. So class commands. Chariot. All right. Chariot. Right? Chariot. If you have a hard time kind of with the R pronunciation. See, Koreans have a hard time pronouncing L's. So L's sound like R's. All right. So it's chariot, and then 경례. So I tried to write these out phonetically.
Sounds good.
All right. Bow to the flags. 국기대하여. 국기대하여. Right? 하야. Right? And then bow to the parents. 부모님. 푸. Not poo. Like poop, right? Poo. I probably should do that more as a B. It's kind of a B, between a B and a P. 부모님께. Yep.
Yeah, 'cause I know that in Korean it's a double B.
Yeah, it's a double B, right? Yeah. See. All right. So 부모님께 경례, and then Grandmaster jon 관장님, or great. jon is great in Korean. jon. 관장님, which is Grandmaster. 관장님, 사모님 is regular master. 교수님 is instructor. 선생님 is teacher. All right, 선생님. So if it's a red belt that's teaching class, 선생님 is fine. Okay.
We used to have to bow to the highest ranked student in our class too.
Yeah.
What we used to what we used to do is at the end of class, right? When class was over, right? Face the instructor, chariot, 사모님께 or 교수님께 경례. Right? And then the instructor would leave the class when I did it. And then once the instructor left the dojang, then the head student would say, face me. Right? And then everyone bowed to the head student to end or dismiss class. That's the way it used to be done. So, but once again, we've kind of moved away from some of that formality, right? I know, just for the sake of, time and things like that. So, right now we're not doing a lot of the Tojang-hun stuff or anything like that for the sake of time.
Yeah, you only got 45 minutes now.
Yeah, because after each class I'm disinfecting, I'm wiping things down. When things change, yes, we'll probably go back to, where we don't have to worry about the extreme cleanliness factor. Then we can kind of go back to some of this stuff. But at this point, my biggest thing is to provide assurance, right, for not only our current student base, but the potential student base that's out there. I was talking with a friend of mine who gained a student because this student left his school because instructor didn't see this as a very important issue, this COVID-19 situation. So he wasn't strict on making sure the social distancing guidelines were intact. When the parent asked, what are you doing to ensure the safety of my child? He goes, that's up to you. He told the parent, that's up to you. And so she was offended by that kind of that
comes off as offensive,
that crass, it's not my responsibility kind of thing. And so she ended up shopping around and saw my friend's school, and she saw my friend because he put videos out on YouTube on the steps that they took in order to make their facility safe. Like he had videos of him cutting PVC pipe, putting it together so he can make those curtains and make his 6,000 square footage workout area broken into 4 quadrants so that he can be socially distant and have 40 people in his class instead of just 10. Right? He talked about the efforts that they took. He videoed the disinfecting company that came in every week to at least disinfect once a week. And then he posted that. And then he ended up gaining a new student because of that. once again, it's just that, and like for me, you know, I know our student base has been very appreciative of the information. Like for me, over communicating what I've done, what I'm doing. Hey, you know, giving encouragement to the parents. Hey, you know, I know your kids are going crazy at home. Hey, here's some ideas that you can do with them to kind of help deal with this situation. You know, and that kind of encouragement. Being available and saying, hey, I can schedule a one-on-one Zoom meeting with your child if you need to, and we can do a one-on-one class. That kind of stuff has kept me afloat and, you know, kept the money coming in, you know, during this time, whereas other schools are failing right now because of that. So, so those types of things, you know, are what I want you guys to kind of emulate, is that, you know, follow that sense of, okay, over communicate, you know, I think Mr. Campbell was alluding to, you know, give them too much information. There's not, you know, give them a ton of information, right? That way you're not caught without, you know, in that mode of, oh, you didn't give me enough information, or you didn't do enough for me, right? I'd rather be err on the side of overkill than not doing enough, right? So, all right. So let's see. School creed, right? 도장훈. And then honor is 명예. 단결. Brotherhood and sisterhood. 봉사. Selfless service. And then 정신일도. Right? 정신일도, 정신. It's shin, right? Olivia?
Yes, sir.
Shin, right? So I should probably do that as double E. Shin. 정신일도. And then 하사불성. 별.
So is that why, sir, when you look up stuff like this online over the years, just you try to Google something, there's no one way to spell it?
No.
There's just not, right? You can't ever figure it out.
I'll tell you this right now. You know, there are instructors that have never spoken Korean before that have tried to do what I've done as well, you know.
Right.
And so, and you know, and you it's hard because just like anything else, anytime that you're speaking a foreign language, there aren't direct translations. Right? So what we're gonna find out is when we get to the point, when we start talking about like the techniques, your knife hand strike, the knife hand block and strike movements and so forth, there aren't direct translations. When you try to directly translate Korean into English, sometimes there's a direct translation, other times there aren't. And so they try to generalize it the best that they can. Okay. All right. Let's see. Theory of power. Phases of learning. Obviously, you guys know that. Belt philosophies. When I first started at Apex, I think there was only belt philosophies through senior red belt, if I'm not mistaken. So as a black, and then when I came in to kind of standardize things a little bit, I added these 1st through 5th degree black belt belt philosophies. Basically, kind of to emphasize certain things. As a 1st degree black belt, it's always hard to stay motivated when you become a black belt, right? It's hard to stay motivated to continue to study your martial art, the one that you've learned, that you've put 2 to 3 to 4 years of training in, right? It's hard to stay motivated. It's hard to keep a kid motivated who's been testing every 2 months, you know, up until they get to like blue belt, and then now telling them, oh no, you have to wait 4 months now to test. Right? Because of that immediate reward. Everyone wants that immediate reward. We live in that microwave society. All right, ding, ding, ding. I just want 2 minutes. I want 2 months, and then I want to test for my black belt. All right, and so it's hard to keep them motivated. So, you know, especially at the black belt level, now you got to wait 12 months. You got to wait 12 months from the date of your certificate before you're eligible to test. All right, doing the same stuff over and over again, and especially for kids, they don't understand. Oh, you know, my front kick's good. Yeah, it might be good, right? But can it be better? They don't understand that. As adults, we understand that process, right? We're always trying to refine things, making things better, changing things up. How can I make this different, right? As an instructor, you start to find that out too. See, and for me, I wasn't like that, right? I was that selfish kid that, when I had to teach Olivia as a, second or third degree black belt, and I was teaching Olivia, I got mad at her. Internally, I was mad at her. Because why, right? Because the time that
Bad. I was a bad kid.
You were a bad kid.
Yeah, besides her being a bad kid and not listening, right? Right? And being all boy crazy and worried about all the other boys in class, right? Right? It boiled down to, right, the fact that she was taking away from my opportunity to train. Right? I had to train her, and so I wasn't training. I had to teach someone else to do something, and I wasn't training when I could have been. Right? That's the way I felt. I was very selfish when I first got involved in this because I love the art so much. I was like, okay, I was there every day. I was taking as many classes as I could. All right. But I didn't want to help. I didn't want to volunteer to help or anything. I just wanted to train. All right. And even as I got to a black belt, I just wanted to be that lifelong student. I said, okay, I'm going to stay in Taekwondo for all my life, but I just want to be a student. All right. I don't want to run a school. I don't want to teach class. I just want to be a student. All right. And so, becoming a black belt, pretty soon I started seeing, oh yeah, this instructor is no longer with us. Oh, this instructor is no longer with us. Oh, this instructor's sick. Can you help cover? All right. And pretty soon, eventually now you're not training anymore. Now you're starting to learn. Now you're starting to teach. And so that kind of changed. And so as I started to teach more, starting in 91, I started teaching almost full time. By the time I was in 1991, I started teaching full time. So I wasn't training. I was the highest ranking student in my school. So I wasn't learning. All right. My mentor would come. Right. Grandmaster Bobby Clayton would come once a year because he was with the Army. And he would be training his world-class athletes, through the Army program. And so I would see him. He would come, and I'd be so excited. Say, yes, I get to train. All right? And he'd be here for a week. And then he would say, okay, let's do this kind of thing. And then all of a sudden, everyone knew he was there. So we'd have a class of 40, 50 people. And then, right, there'd be kids in there, and he'd call me Honga. That was my nickname, Honga. Hong. Right? Right? So, hey, Hongster, right? Honga. Hey, I need you to take care of the little kids for me. Great.
Brutal.
Right? So I'm there watching the little kids doing all this fancy, cool stuff and everything like that. And he's teaching everyone. Right? And then I got to go to dinner with him. Yay. Whoopee-doo. I got to eat food. But during that time, he was teaching me philosophy and was teaching me stuff, and I was writing notes down. And he's like, "Hey, do these drills when when I'm gone and so forth. You can do these drills to kind of help." All right, because he was Olympic based at that time. He was training Olympic athletes, Army athletes that wanted to be Olympians. So he was very state of the art in the way he was training. We did like paddle drills. And Olivia, you might remember this, some of those paddle drills where we would have multiple people holding paddles. You kick one paddle, you go over to the other paddle, you kick, and you go side to side, and it would work on footwork, speed, endurance. You get tired after doing all that stuff. So that's what we were doing. So he was teaching me those kind of things. He was teaching me, how to train front leg kicks, how to train front leg side kick, a cut kick to stop your opponent, where the targeting was, where did you want to hit on the body to stop them from coming in. So he was putting a lot of science into this, as well as, trying to stay in tune with what the Koreans were doing, right? Because the Koreans were, this was their martial art. And, in 88, it was, Olympic sport, demonstration sport. So they knew all the crazy techniques, right? And so he was going to Korea to train with them, right? And he was learning all of their stuff and then bringing it back and then using it for the Army team. And so, like I said, I didn't get a chance to train with him. So I was very selfish during that time. But throughout that process, I realized the more and more I started to teach, I was still training. I was learning. It just wasn't physical. I wasn't sweating. I wasn't going home and having to wash my uniform after every class. Right? Because I was working on that mental aspect. I was seeing the science behind why he wanted you to do the side kick that way and so forth. So that's the kind of approach that you're taking as well. You have to have that balance of, oh yeah, I still want to learn. I still want to train physically and so forth, as well as being able to apply that training to a teaching standpoint. How can I get what I've learned into someone else and help them to understand? All right? Does that make sense? All right.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So, all right. So commands. All right. 손 바꿔. 손 is hand. 바꿔 means to switch. All right. So 바꿔 is the switch of hands. So usually we do that in the single punching techniques or the double punching techniques and so forth. All right. 손 바꿔. All right. When you're in the fighting stance position, when I say 발 바꿔, 발, switch your feet. That's what that means, right? So that's when the kids jump and switch their feet. 발 바꿔, all right? Turn around, 뒤로 돌아, 뒤로 돌아, all right? Start, 시작, all right? Relax, 쉬어, stop, 그만, ready, right? 준비. Right? We call this kind of like ready stance, 준비, right? Which is really incorrect. 준비 is just get ready, 준비. Right? The ready stance itself is that 나란히 서기. That's that parallel stance. Feet apart, hands here. That's that 나란히 서기. Okay? So when you finish something, 바로, return back to the starting position. That's returning to this position, right? Right. I remember when I first started at Apex, they used to meditate for 1 minute before class started. So during the meditation, he would, after you do the stretching, he would tell the students, 앉아, sit down, 앉아. All right. And then from there, they would close their eyes, feet crossed, arms out. And then he would turn on just some meditative music. And then for a minute, you would meditate and breathe before starting class. All right. So, all right. And then he would say, 일어나, stand up. All right. My instructor used to use 빨리, faster. All right. 빨리 해. Do it fast. All right. Basically, everything up to return, you should be familiar with when you're teaching class. All right. The sit down, stand up, faster. You'll hear me say that. That's fun. All right, counting. You guys know 1 through 10. I don't expect, we do 11. I have up here, through 100 to 10,000, but you don't need to do that. If you're counting, I've always done 1 through 10. I don't go Johanna for number 11. I'll just go start back at 1. All right. But I like the kids to know the kind of how the Koreans count. So basically, for 11, they do 10, 열, and then 하나 again. 열 하나, 열 둘, 열 셋, and work up that way. 20 is 스물, right? 스물 하나 is 21. So they just keep adding. So they add the 10 number with the 1 number, right? Now, I can't remember what it is. Ordinal, Cardinal counting, I can't remember what it is. I get those two mixed up. And then the other type of counting is the first, second, third, fourth, fifth, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, right? Like 태극 1장 is the first 태극 1, right? So it's not 태극 하나. It's not 태극 하나장, right? It's not 태극 1장. The first 태극 is what it is, right? If you were to literally translate it, okay? So you have the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And then you have the 하나, 둘, 셋, 넷, 다섯, 여섯, 일곱, 여덟, 아홉, 열. Okay? So you're going to be counting, 하나, 둘, 셋, 넷. You won't count 1, 2, 3. You're not going to do that. All right. All right. Dobok is your uniform. All right. Dojang is the school. Dojang. All right. D is your belt. All right. Hogu is your chest protector for sparring. Oh, so pumse is form, right? Chagi is kick. Chigi is strike. Maki is block. All right. You have sogi is stance. You have kyorugi, which is sparring. All right. You have hoshinsul. We don't say this a lot. Hoshinsul is self-defense. Obviously, self-defense is for red belts and up. So that's the only time you'll really hear that, hoshinsul. All right. Kyokpa is board breaking. So I'm trying to use those terms a little bit more in class. So on the page where the stances are, all right? Really, attention stance is really a close stance, moasogi, if you think about it, because the feet are together, right? When we say chariot, is just basically get into attention position, right? So the stance itself is really what we call a close stance, right? Which is the moasogi, right? So moasogi is where the feet are together, arms are to the side, or feet are together. That's really what the moasogi is, right? You have moasogi A, which is in Pegachirchang, right? Or in Wanyo, in ITF Wanyo, close stance A, right? And then you have your ready stance, which is your narangi sogi, right? Even though I have it here as chumbi. Chumbi, really the word itself means ready, get ready. All right. You hear me occasionally say juchumsigi momtom chirigi. Juchumsigi momtom chirigi. Horse riding stance, middle punch. Horse riding stance, middle punch. That's juchumsigi momtom chirigi. Momtom, middle, chirigi, punch. All right. So like I said, we'll start utilizing more of these stances and terms in Korean. But our time is just about up. Does anyone have any questions on anything so far?
Just for that one that's listed there in the stances.
Yes.
Heaven hand ready stance. I don't know what that is.
That's the for first degree black belt. There's a stand where you're looking up like this.
Yes.
The hands are in a diamond. When Kodio was first done, they used to do it this way. And it was a little bit higher when they first did it. So Kodio was kind of, once again, when they first created Kodio, they wanted to kind of mimic it as the first degree ITF form, which was Kwange, which started up here. So this was the open hand heaven stance. And the first movement of Kwange, you separate your hands, meaning symbolically that you're opening the door. Right? As you're looking up into the heavens, into space, right? If you look at what the black belt symbolizes, the black belt symbolizes space, right? A new frontier kind of thing. When you're in this position here, when you separate your hands and you open them up, right? That's where the doorway is opening symbolically. So that first movement of Kwange, you open up your hands, you're opening the door into space. You're stepping into black belt hood, all right? So that's where that open hand heaven stance came from. So when I teach you Kwange, all right, when you get to that point where you're going to learn Kwange, you're gonna see this pumse, and you're going to be like, wow, that's cool. It's a lot better than Koryo. It looks a lot fancier than Koryo. All right. So good question. Any other questions?
I think that's it.
No.
So much to read.
Questions? No? Okay.
Just to read.
So the best thing to do is, like I said, just read them the best way that you can. I try to do them as phonetically as possible, right? So. And like I said, we can, and I'm doing some research with, I purchased some books directly from Kukiwan. So I'm going to utilize that and update this information in regards to this. All right. So once again, this is really an I try to do an all-inclusive list on the terminology section. You know, body parts, phrases that you would be common in using, whether you're in the class, whether you're interacting with a Korean grandmaster, those types of things. Okay. So we'll spend a little bit more time on the kicking piece of it next time. We got punches and blocks. There's a lot. And of course, this isn't, I haven't put all the blocks in. These are just the main ones that we're really familiar with. So, all right. And once again, I'm going to change things to kind of be more in line with Kukiwan standards. So this is, once again, it's a fluid document. If you guys see any typos, let me know. All right. Spell check doesn't always understand Korean terminology. All right. Grammar check doesn't either. So needless to say. All right.
I guess
any other final thoughts or questions?
I guess I didn't know how to spell calisthenics because I'm reading this and it looks like Mike Tyson wrote it to me.
Yeah, probably.
It's calisthenics.
Right. So.
Jalhe soyo chungkwajim. You know, I'm just taking it out of your terminology, sir. I said good job, so I said Jalhe soyo.
Thanks.
I'm just trying to participate.
Sounds good. All right. So, all right. Enjoy the long weekend. Once again, we no classes next week. No classes on Monday. We'll start back up on Tuesday. Next week we will have 7 o'clock classes. But then the following week, which is technically testing week, we will not have 7 o'clock classes because I'm going to use that time plus the 3 o'clock time frame to do testing, because testing will be one-on-one at this point here. So
no in person yet.
Nope. Some people, if they want to come in, then I will allow that. That's fine. So if you have a desire to participate as a judge, then let me know. I can give you the meeting invite for a particular person and you can judge remotely. But I'm kind of handling everything right now. If you kind of want to see, we kind of have to look at this and see how it's going to look in the future. As we start to market an online presence, a larger, greater online presence in all of this. We want to make sure that, you know, I don't know how it's going to look, quite frankly. I don't know how online training is going to look, what kind of requirements we're going to expect from our people who are on let's say the online program. What do we want them to do? How much in-person participation do we want? Those types of things I'm in the process of looking at as we're going through all these videos and as I'm reviewing some of my classes. We want to make sure that we're touching base on everything. So, all right. So if you guys have ideas, let me know. Cause like I said, this is foreign territory to everyone. There isn't a standard out there yet. So I want to, and even the standard that's out there may not be the right one. So. All right.
Sounds good.
Okay. Awesome. Thank you, sir.
All right. Well, once again, have a blessed weekend, everyone. We'll see you guys next week.
Take care, everyone.
Take care.
Thank you.
See ya.
Thank you.